in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast After Show. I don't know, a lot going on this week. I guess they're releasing some hostages finally with the whole Israeli-Hamas thing.
All right.
4-day pause in fighting between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip began Friday. Hamas released 24 hostages, 13 Israeli women and children, 10 Thai nationals, and a Filipino citizen.
No U.S. citizens, huh?
Not that I'm reading. And
come on, Sleepy Joe. Come on, get your shit together.
Mind you, Israel released 39 Palestinian women and children detainees. The exchange is part of a short-term ceasefire deal brokered by Qatar. And the first time that the fighting has been temporarily halted. Hamas has captured more than 240 people during a surprise cross-border attack 7 weeks ago. So there you go.
Was it really that long ago?
I know, right? Dude, once this stuff kind of becomes, mainstream, it's funny. We're like so caught up in our lives. And I mean, as you can only worry about so many things, right? I'm not saying like you're wrong that you're paying attention to your family and your preps and your job and your things. I got the
people that are held hostage though. That 7 weeks hasn't flown by like it has for me.
It didn't.
That's probably not like a pleasant way to spend your life.
No, it turns out. But that's that's the thing. So that's going on. It's amazing to me. I've been getting the daily news from that 1440. I kept seeing ads of unbiased news, get an email thing. And I haven't really scrutinized how unbiased it is because I have my own opinions about everything. You probably didn't know that about me, but
he's an opinionated individual.
Right. But as I gotta say, it's pretty convenient. They put like the 5 top stories you might want to care about kind of thing. And it's not necessarily 5, it's whatever stories, come up.
Right.
But so far I'm like, yeah, that's relevant to me. Yeah, that's relevant to me. And so like Sam Altman, now he is the creator of, he was a co-creator, I guess, of OpenAI. And he's back and
so they kicked him. What happened there? They kicked him out? They kicked him off the board?
He said it's going down a scary road, and he didn't want any part of it, was kind of how it was. He was like, this is going to screw the whole world. And now he's like, well, if we're going to screw the whole world, then I want to be in charge. Or I don't know. I don't know what his
I mean, that's not great that you're like, this is going terrible. I should get the fuck out of here,
Right.
No, man. No, so, you gotta keep some of the brakes on there.
It's there's a whole timeline on their thing, but OpenAI caps off a multi-day roller coaster since the oust last week of the board, and basically it's all kind of shaken up and going a new direction. So we'll see. Other big news: former Olympian Pistorius, Oscar Pistorius, released January 5th after serving half of his 13-year prison sentence for the murder in 2013 of his model girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp.
Right.
So that's going on.
Now, I remember when the story came out, he went to bed and this model was in the bed with him. They went to sleep. He woke up, heard noises in the bathroom, and just started shooting.
Right.
Turns out his girl got out of bed and went to go to the bathroom. And, that's a little suspicious. You know what I mean? Generally speaking, if somebody dies, it's the husband or the wife that did it. It's the boyfriend, whatever. But my wife brought up a good point about this when it happened.
She ain't going to the bathroom?
Well, they'd been going out for 3 weeks. Like, you can't piss somebody off enough that they want to kill you after 3 weeks.
Right. That's a true thing.
You give it 3 years. Yeah, maybe you're so fucking aggravated you might want to murder somebody. But 3 weeks, I don't know. You just break up. Oh, that bitch is crazy. I gotta go. Or in this case, that dude is crazy because he just shoots randomly into a bathroom having no idea who's in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. I mean, you're that terrified, but I guess maybe you're half asleep and you were having a nightmare that the invasion was happening. I don't know. I don't know how you
Mm.
get there.
I mean, he has no legs. I mean, he's already at a disadvantage, so maybe he just keeps the gun right next to his bed. I can't imagine he woke up, put some fake legs on, and walked over to the closet to get the gun out. You know, he had to have that shit locked and loaded right next to the bed, ready to go.
Yeah.
But
Well, who doesn't, right? Who doesn't have their gun locked and loaded and ready to go next to the bed? That's what I would ask you, Kevin.
yeah, fair.
I don't know. Did they get his legs back in shape? Well, I'm sure that when you're in prison, you get like they probably grew from like stem cells or something, grew new legs for him. Because isn't that what we do for prisoners now?
Yeah,
Like,
well, this
remember?
is South Africa. I don't know what kind of prison situation they got over there, but I would say that if I had to pick right off the bat, I'd rather be in a U.S. prison than a South African prison. I can't imagine it's a whole lot better, but I don't know. What do I know about
All right.
the justice
Now,
system? And
tell me about a couple killed in a car explosion at the U.S.-Canada border.
right.
Now,
You know,
how does that work?
I saw everybody immediately was like, terrorists, it's terrorists right off the bat, without any investigation, without any, any information. They immediately said terrorists. If you're a terrorist driving your car that you're
A
in
Bentley.
full speed into a checkpoint, it's probably not the best way to go, man.
No, it says the Bentley became airborne before it crashed and exploded. Now,
Right.
Bentleys weigh a lot, is my understanding. Like they're a substantial car. That's part of how that comfort comes in.
Yeah, no, and that to me seems like he must have been going really fast. And I know Bentleys can go fast, but
they're usually pretty slick. But
I don't feel comfortable having a car though that if I'm in a car accident, I also have to worry about it exploding right afterwards. You know what I mean? Like most cars don't actually explode. It's like a gun just going off.
Right,
you know?
right. Well,
it
it's like
just
an electric car
explode.
might explode, but yeah,
Right.
maybe they make electric Bentleys now. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't imagine they do, but
So apparently they were in a rush to get to a Kiss concert. So
yes.
if you know anything about Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons,
They don't like it when you're late. And I've seen them call out people during the shows like, hey, what the hell?
Mhm.
You know?
Kiss still causing chaos 40 years later. You know what I mean? Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. No, I don't even know who the lineup is anymore. We have Gene and Paul, and then
right. They've been rotating the Peter Criss and the Ace Frehley.
I mean, I know Ace and Peter came back, but I know that Peter can't stay friends with everybody for that long. So
yeah. And Ace Frehley is kind of a lunatic, isn't he? That was the main thing, is he was out of his fucking mind and drunk all the time.
I believe when they kicked him out, was the final straw was he went into a restaurant and he set a handgun on the table and he said, I want a bowl of Coke right here, right now, and I'm not leaving till I get it. And then the band was like, you might have a problem. Like, that's,
yeah.
In a couple of years they could be politicians, right? And having the car accidents and your girlfriend accidentally dying in the bottom of the Potomac and you just go home and sleep it off, that kind of thing works in politics. So
right.
Maybe
I don't feel like Gene Simmons has killed enough people in his life to like really be a good politician, somebody you can count on, like Ted,
but like Ace
Kennedy.
or somebody, maybe. I mean, Ace might have. I don't know.
He does seem to be
Kevin,
enough of a lunatic.
A horrible person.
I'm a big fan of Kiss. I'm just talking shit for fun. You know what I mean?
They may look insane, but if rock's your game, it's Kiss.
There you go.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, honestly, we shouldn't be voting for any politicians that have never vomited blood on stage. So you got to do what you got to do.
Yes. Or at least, strippers on stage. That sounds like that fits most politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know that Ace Frehley has done enough cocaine though to match up with most of our politicians here.
No. Kevin, it's all about caring and caring for the people. And Kiss has put the people first, right? They always say they put the fans first. So,
Fair enough.
All right.
All
Enough
right.
about Kiss, maybe.
Yeah. So we got any other news stories here? Is that all of it?
That was the highlight. There was something about in New York City, they have a adult victim law, something. Hang on.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
So you got molested as a kid, and now you're a grown up, and you wanna
and you're
go
still
over and
sad?
beat the shit
Right,
out of
they
that
got
guy?
you.
Yeah.
Here it is. New York's Adult Survivors Act deadline. Oh, there's a deadline. So this has probably been around, I guess. Adult Survivors Act created a 1-year window which expired Friday for New Yorkers to sue those they claim sexually assaulted them, free from statutes of limitations. Now, how does that work? Like, you have a law that says after 5 years you can't, I think it's 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can't come forward because it's so hard to produce evidence and do whatever. And then New York's like, yeah, we're just going to take that law that you were already free and be like, nah, fuck it. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
So anyway, under the new law, or under the act, New York Mayor Eric Adams was accused this week of sexual assault in 1993, as well as celebrities Jamie Foxx, Axl Rose, and Sean Diddy Combs were also among those sued this week. All four have denied their allegations. Now, I gotta say, anybody can accuse anybody of anything. So you're kind of an asshole based on no evidence to be like, oh, yeah, they're guilty.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Let's talk about Puff Daddy first.
All right.
So
Diddy?
Somebody sued, P. Diddy. I guess I just feel uncomfortable saying P. Diddy, like I'm a child or something. That's his name. He chose that shit. I don't know what to fucking tell you. But so a woman did accuse him of sexually assaulting her, and he gave her an undisclosed amount of money, but it looked like it was in the millions. That's what it sounded like. And then like 30 other people were like, oh, he raped me too.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's just raping everybody or if people are just, eager to get some of that cash.
And there are dirtbags. You know who shocked me? I was watching a documentary on YouTube about what is the crazy cult that Tom Cruise is in?
Scientology.
Scientology. Yeah. And the guy from that 70s show. Did you see this whole scandal with him?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was raping all
Danny
kinds
Masterson.
of people, got convicted.
Yeah.
And Scientology was just like, yeah, don't worry, we'll handle it. And they didn't do shit, and he went on and did. So my point is, people you don't expect. Like, he seemed like a decent guy. He had that whole radio business going. He was like a DJ and had all kinds of cool shit going. Seemed like he was a decent guy. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's great. And then it comes out and it's true. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, turns out it was. And then he got convicted, right? And Ashton Kutcher wrote a letter, like, talking about how he was a great person, and
right, because you don't know, and like, people can put up a front, right?
He helped him out when he walked into a house and saw blood everywhere, and to some girl he's supposed to date, and then left, and I don't know who killed that girl, but he was definitely there.
That happened to?
You know what I'm saying?
How many times has that happened to you? And you're like, hey, Chuck, come on over. It's been a little rough. I don't bring that up to other people. And then now you want to go after Ashton.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton's got he's like super, running stuff for sex trafficking and all that. No, like like
anti-sex, not running sex trafficking. Not doing the sex trafficking.
Wilburn wanted to point out, in Oregon, Measure 114 was ruled unconstitutional, which had banned the magazines and high cap magazines, and that requiring a permit to purchase, I guess, magazines. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's another win for freedom, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Now, a lot of people talk about freedom and America and that sort of shit. But, America really isn't that free comparatively to a lot of other countries. Yeah, we're better than North Korea and China, but the one major difference is that we are free to have firearms, which means that we can protest, like, really protest. You know what I mean? That's the major difference, right? You know, one of the names though that you had on that list was Axl Rose.
Yes.
And
once he went to the Dreads, we knew he was crazy after
yeah,
that
and I'll be
anyway.
honest with you, if anyone on that list is probably right people with no evidence, me saying no evidence, is Axl Rose. He was a goddamn lunatic.
Yeah, it sounds right. He was a lunatic.
Starting fist fights. Do you remember when he was in that? They had that show and somebody threw a bottle at him.
That was Skid Row.
Was that Skid Row? Oh, I'm thinking of Sebastian Bach. Okay.
And he picked up the bottle and threw it back.
And like some girl in the face.
Other girl.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That wasn't Guns N' Roses, though, huh?
Yeah. Right. It turns out it's not good to throw beer bottles at little kids or whatever. You know, I don't know. She was like some 16-year-old concert goer or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's an ugly world. But Kevin, you're just telling people you're old. No, but Axl, like, so I saw Skid Row and Guns N' Roses one time, and yeah, I mean, Axl comes out like 2 hours late. Like you're waiting. They were showing movies in between the two. Like we watched like 3 episodes of Batman, the TV show. They had all kinds of stuff going on in between. I think they were showing stuff from like a strip club or something. You know, the live feed of where Axl might be.
Right.
And eventually he comes out. It was pretty rough. But then I will say, he may have been like 4 hours late, but he did like a 4-hour concert too.
Well, that's something.
Like, they did every song they ever had and whatever. Like he's like, I'm in, but yeah, I'm like, all right, dude, it's like 1 a.m. and I'm getting a little.
We're supposed to go on stage. I just took so much heroin.
That's it.
We gotta wait for this to wear off for a few hours.
Yeah, it's an ugly world.
Poor Axl Rose.
But no, anyway, we do appreciate you guys hanging in there with us and you know, checking it out. Again, likes, comments, all that stuff always helps. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm sure you guys all have, and we appreciate it. And comments when you download the podcast, that kind of stuff. Sharing it, all that. We love it. I do appreciate it. Now let me see what Slow Bird's got before I end it up here. Permit to purchase, so the local police can decide if you can buy one. I gotta say, I'm still reading, and when you actually buy a gun, got it. When I got when you do what is it? NFA items, National Firearms Act.
Right.
When you do a suppressor or a short barrel rifle, technically. Now, it's weird because I never read this, and I read it on other sites, but I never read it from the ATF. But you're supposed to send a copy of your application to your local law enforcement. And again, I can't find where it actually says that in the ATF rules. And there's nothing in the process when you go through the ATF thing that
says, hey, now send that thing over.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And it's just like, but when I go on YouTube or whatever, they're like, oh, and you got to mail this or whatever. And I've seen people mention it. So I don't know if anybody knows where that is. If you could actually put it in the comments or, you know, let me know.
Yeah, you
Send
can
us an email at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Right. And I would love to know where that is because I haven't seen it. But anyway, so I do it. I play the game, you know, because why invite trouble? Right. But anyway, so I send the local sheriff the stuff, and I'd done some through Silencer Shop, and I don't even know, like they file everything and do everything, so I didn't even know if it actually got sent or not for the ones I'd done in the past for suppressors. So I took a copy of every one I had and I just put them all in one envelope and sent it off to the local sheriff. And no joke, sheriff calls me up on the phone, and I'm not talking deputy so-and-so or what, the sheriff.
Right.
He's
the
like,
sheriff, the people
call me
for.
back. And so I call him. I'm like, what's going on? And now, mind you, in his phone call, he's like, there isn't a problem. Just call me. And I'm like, all right, weird. But, you know, I call him. He's like, hey, you like guns? I like guns. We could talk about guns and whatever. But again, it's they make it their business. And again, part of it, I think they're kind of feeling you out. Like, is this guy a dirtbag? Is this guy, what's his, like, and why not take a friendly approach, which, hey, I appreciated that, that's, hey, I like the whole, good approach and hey, we can be friends. And maybe you're just doing it to be cool, or maybe you're kind of checking up on me. But either
Yeah.
way, it was a pleasant experience. I kind of
Mhm.
had a smile on my face at the end. And it's funny because I'm like, this guy's an important man. I should let him go, like, all right, I gotta go to work, whatever.
Right.
And he kept, well, let's talk about this, or what about that? Like, we could hang out, we could, whatever. And I'm like, it's
Mhm.
good, but I'm not that, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. I know that, a lot of the time sheriffs are decent dudes,
Yeah.
with
No, I think that's right. Sheriff is always like the safe go-to.
Mhm.
Whenever I get the call from the state police PBA or whatever, and I'm always like, nah, dude, that ain't gonna happen. Now again, it's one because the cops never get the money. That
Right.
that money it's like 20% or 10% ends up doing something that might help somebody,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It's funny. When I lived in your county, when we had in New York, we had a good sheriff back in the day, and the only fundraiser he ever got was like him sponsoring a camp for kids or something, and it was
Mhm.
like, oh, the sheriff wants you to, send your support for camp so and so for all the little kids to, whatever, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Slowburn pointed out, the sheriffs are the ones that are elected, so they got to be a little more, you know, more answering to the people, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. Yeah, I voted for local district attorney a couple of weeks ago.
Was that because
And
it's your buddy, or
yeah, no, it was cuz there's there's one guy running and I can't really explain it, but I really just hate this motherfucker. I can't stand him. And so I vote against him every time. He keeps running and losing. But I keep voting against him. It was because I think it was because his daddy used to be district
Mhm,
attorney, and I don't
mhm.
like that dynasty shit.
No?
Maybe that's why I
Well,
don't like him.
that's the thing.
Maybe
Like,
it's because he looks like a dickhead. I've
you're
never
you're
met him.
not
I
you're
don't even
not
know.
as
He could be a great guy, but
right. You're not as old as me, but we had Mario Cuomo in New
mhm,
York. And he may have been a complete ass. I don't know, because I was like 10 years old, but I
right,
thought he was the greatest governor that ever lived. And
uh huh,
I can say is Andrew, from the minute that guy got elected, his son, I what a jackass.
yeah,
And then his brother, Chris, Andrew's brother, Chris, has that weird show on CNN
yeah.
or
Used
whatever
to. I
back
think
in
they
the day.
got rid of
Yeah.
him now. Yeah,
But it's like, but yeah, no, it always seems when they're trying to hang on daddy's name and whatever,
yeah.
they're usually the spoiled little jerk. But
Yeah, and he embezzled $5 million to write a book about how great he was.
mm,
Nothing, no problems. Grabbed one state trooper's titty, and he's out.
no,
You know
no,
what I mean?
that's a
The
no-go.
5 million thing was hanging over him for a little while, and nobody did shit or said shit about it.
Well, the
But then
thing
he
is,
started grabbing titties.
you
That's too
need
far.
something else to get the people's attention. Hey,
Hmm.
don't look over there, boobies.
Yeah.
And then, you get it.
Yep.
That's going to be they have those shorts and whatever to catch something. There's just going to be Chuck with boobies. And then,
Yeah. There you go. And that's the new ad.
and that's the ad. You subscribe to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast. So that's pretty much it. We'll let you guys get to progress. I know Kevin's got to get to work. I got to get to the dump and then get to work. All kinds of
Hmm.
excitement.
All
But
right.
nothing else, Kevin, in your life you need to
That's
let
all I
people know
got.
about? Sounds like the dogs are going crazy. All right. With that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.